Good evening. As district clerk, I'd like to call the budget committee meeting to order for April 13th, 2023. Could we stand for the pledge? Pledge
Allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
I think to start and for everyone to introduce themselves, especially new members, we're going to have a roll call introduction. Do you want to start off, Pam?
Yeah, I'm Pam Brown. I'm a Kingston rep to BudCom, and I'm looking forward to working with everyone.
Courtney Hewitt from Kingston, but member at large for the budget committee. This is my second year.
Amanda Aiello from Newton, New Hampshire. This is my first year.
I'm Terry Beckett. I'm also from Newton, New Hampshire, and yes, this is my first year.
Maybe you should too.
I'm Phyllis Kennedy. I'm district clerk and assistant to the superintendent.
I'm Dan Guide. I'm from Newton, and this is my second year.
Vanessa Matias from Kingston, New Hampshire, and I don't know how many years it's been. I don't know, 4 maybe. I'm not really sure.
Hi, I'm Ken Anthony and I'm from Kingston. This is my second year.
I'm Micah Patillo. I'm from Newton and I am the school board representative here. And I'm excited to work with you all.
And I'm Matt Angel. I'm the school business administrator.
Great. Okay, the first order of business is to elect a chair. Is there a motion for a chairperson?
There is. I'd like to make the motion. Courtney is the chair.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Second.
Yes, I heard that. Yep.
Oh.
Thank you. And no discussion? Okay. Let's have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Let's do it.
Congratulations. You over here?
Thank you, Phyllis.
You're welcome. I'm just going to grab your name tag too.
Oh, yep.
Okay.
So. Well, thanks, everyone. And next up is vice chair.
I'd like to make a motion for Dan Guy to be vice chair.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm making a motion for Dan Guy to be vice chair. Sorry.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Yep. Forgot that I have to vote. I do. Yes. All right.
We'll figure it out.
Yep. All right. Okay. So that is the easy stuff. And I know that the agenda looks really long, but I just kind of want to go through some basic stuff and just try to get us organized for the next year. Next on the agenda was results from the elections. And then we're going to get into discussions on the process. So the proposed operating budget was approved, which is a good thing. And the other articles, of course, I'm going to blank out on them, for the contingency funds for the funds also passed, correct, Matt?
They did.
Awesome. All right. So that was to the capital funds and the emergent utilities, right?
Yes.
The two.
I can actually pull it up if you want.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone knows, but we're saying it here to like kind of just set the base. And some things that we implemented last year, we did things a little bit different. We actually met with the administration and roundtables. Dan and I met with Tom and Matt, and we kind of had a discussion on things that we can implement this year to improve transparency and the collaboration between the school board and the school, the admin. So Does anybody from even new people or people that were here last year have anything they want to add to how things went last year?
I think it went good. I'll talk. I liked meeting with the department heads. I think that was a great idea and it was probably the first year that I got an understanding from the department heads how they structured their budget. So we got the opportunity to pick a couple people that we could meet with. And they gave us an overview of how they created their budget, the different line items in the budget, some of their wish lists and needs and stuff like that. So it was a really good experience. It allowed you to tap in and really identify a little bit more with what was going on as opposed to just looking at some figures on a piece of paper. So I felt like that was really good. And I want to say, I love how you've reorganized the what's it called? Google Drive. I think it's great. I had a really hard time finding things before. And we also did something a little bit different that I liked is when people formulated questions, rather than them all being behind the scenes, we kept it 100% transparent. So everybody could see the questions that were being asked, whether it was being asked of Matt or Tom, or even within the group. I thought that that was important because in the past, there was a lot of conversations or questions that were being asked behind the scenes that the rest of us really didn't have access to. And they were probably questions that we had as well. So we felt like if we could work more together as a team, it would be a little bit better for everybody. So that's my comment. Sorry.
No, thank you.
As an absolute newbie, I did come that evening. I've come to several of the meetings just so I had some sense of what I was getting into. And I thought that was a wonderful way to present it. To actually, and then we moved around the room and talked to different department heads. That was very informative. I liked that part.
Excellent.
So our directors of various areas such as special ed have so much specialized knowledge about regulations and what's mandated that we provide. So they really know what can't really be modified in the budget and then where we have some leeway. And I really respect the knowledge they have with federal regulations, state regulations, water testing and so forth.
Absolutely. All right. So I have good news. But the other thing, I guess, anything else? All right. Next up is the proposed schedule, which hints at some of these changes. And I want to go into a little bit more detail as kind of the next piece. We have a proposed schedule. Matt knows the ins and outs of when we can finalize it, but I know I like to put it on the calendar so I know when I'm supposed to be here and at what time, so we can plan ahead. So I know, Matt, you have a proposed schedule if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
Through it.
All right. So annually, I try to pull it together in the springtime. However, the school board approves it in the early fall. Per their school board policy, it's in August. The calendar is kind of weird. It has been weird for the last couple of years, and we're hoping that this is the last year it's going to be kind of weird. And so like the December meetings are actually going to fall at the last week of November. Okay. So let's start with like the first date that's everyone knows that we're going to be doing our presentation on November 1st. Okay. Then at that meeting, what we're going to do this year is we're going to have all the building principals and all the department heads. We're going to do the round table. We know that's going to be the first night you're going to see the budget. Okay. But you're going to have, that's your first opportunity to meet with the department heads. Then on November 2nd, we're going to have another joint meeting. This one is again going to be with all the department heads, and you'll have had 8 days to review the budget. All right. Then on November 13th, submit all of your budget questions. If your budget question wasn't answered during that round table, send them to, well, somehow we're going to figure this out, but I think what's going to happen is we're going to set up a questionnaire or like a spreadsheet in the Google Drive. And then, and so it's just going to get turned off on November 13th at 5 o'clock. And then administration is going to respond to that by email, and we're going to send it out to all the school board and budget committee members. and we're also going to post it on the district's website. All right. We're hoping that by having these 2 sessions where you get to meet with all the principals and department heads, that's going to cut down on some of the 200 questions. Okay.
Can I just butt in, Matt? So previously we submitted the questions and then Matt sat here and read them all for like 2 hours. I mean, it's one way of doing it. We're gonna so the key takeaway messages, you're gonna get answers. They're gonna be posted and available to the public. We used a Word doc before, so Vanessa would ask the same question as me and Amanda would ask the same question. If we put in Excel, you can sort it and you can see, oh, Vanessa's already flagged that. I don't need to ask it again. And so Matt's not answering the same question 5 times over. So hopefully, even if you were to sit and review them, it wouldn't take as long because we can see what everyone else is seeing or asking. So that's that piece. So we're gonna keep up with meeting with the department heads. We're gonna consolidate how we ask questions, but we're gonna have a couple opportunities to still do that.
So can I just clarify? Did you say November 1st, the presentation of the budget, and then November 2nd was a joint meeting?
No, November not, but the first joint meeting is November 1st.
Okay,
The second joint meeting is November 9th.
that's what I missed. Okay, because I was
Okay.
like 8 days.
Yes. The school board is going to recommend a budget to this committee on November 29th.
Okay.
Okay. And then your first night to deliberate is November 30th.
Say that again. Is it one day again?
Well, no, the first time that you guys will meet to discuss the budget after it's recommended by the school board is November 30th,
Okay, but the school board's recommending it. I'm sorry, I should write it down.
November 29th.
Okay.
I can put it up on the screen so you can see it.
No, it's one day. And so I'm gonna just again interject again. I think last year that got really tricky that the school board made changes and we had like less than 24 hours to come up with to wrap our head around it. I understand that's what the way the schedule falls. I just think as a heads up to this group that November 29th meeting is really critical for us to understand to go into the November 3rd for our meeting on November 30th.
But you don't have to choose, you don't have to vote on it that
Right.
night.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
We don't have to.
I know.
vote on it,
Okay.
so
Okay. So,
Major stuff that's happened
Yep.
in those 2 days.
um,
Fair enough.
I put down December 14th
Okay.
as the tentative day.
It's our target. I like it.
It's the target.
Right.
Okay.
Perfect.
To adopt our budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we go into
Do you want to go into January?
public hearing and deliberative.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. So the school board's gonna hopefully identify warrant articles on January 3rd. The budget committee is gonna have a planning meeting for the hearing on January 4th. Wait a minute.
So January 4th, we're gonna have a meeting to talk about our
Yeah.
presentation.
The last day for petition warrant articles is January 9th. The deadline for bonded petition warrant articles is January 12th. And January 16th is the public hearing. Okay. The snow date is a problem because it actually falls outside of the statute. So the public hearing date could move because I only have like a 4 or 6 day window to put the public hearing. I think it starts on that Saturday and ends the following Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's very helpful for me.
Let's see.
And for the public hearing and the deliberative session, the development of the slides for that, we did a quick presentation and then I worked on them with Matt a little bit more. Not everyone if we agree on here are the 10 topics we want to cover. I don't think we all have to, unless there's major discussion points, we don't need to meet and go through that. I changed the formatting on slide 5, unless you guys want to. I'm just making suggestions. And again, it'll be out on the Google Drive too. So
The deliberative is on February 7th.
Okay.
I'm jumping past some dates. So like, if you guys want to know when the filing dates are for office,
I want to know when I need to like,
okay. And then the annual where you vote is March 12th.
questions on schedule.
All our meetings are staying at 7 PM.
I am open to earlier if
We might have to do earlier on that.
the one with the department heads, I think we're definitely gonna have to bump earlier. But I know I'm flexible. What were you, 6:36? Anyone have?
I'm fine with that. I work from home and I'm done at 4, so it's.
6 is okay with me.
I mean, it would just be 2 meetings. So,
Or we could do all of them at 6. It's up to,
yeah, that's true too.
does anybody have any concerns with meeting at 6?
I'm worried it might get tight for me. If I'm the lone man out, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
Or we can keep it, like I said, I can do 6 or 7 or 6:30.
Does anyone else have any preference? No, you guys, doesn't matter. I mean, we can, yeah.
Let's split it in half. Do 6:30. Does that make you feel better?
If everybody else can do, I'm just trying to think. So I'm trying to think of kids' sports schedules.
Yep.
So that'll be basketball season, really.
Thursdays.
I think it'll be fine. I'm not gonna know, you know what I mean? We'll do 6. Cause I do feel like some of the meetings went a little late and we were all kind of tired by the time I got out of here, so. Yeah, can you do 6 though? I know it was a problem for you at one point.
Yeah, I prefer 7 if I
Okay.
have a choice. Because I see clients until 8 o'clock normally. But,
Gotcha.
you know, the earlier we make it, the earlier I gotta leave.
I'm just throwing the options out
again-
there. I think that there meetings where we're meeting, the times where we meet with the department heads, we're gonna have to meet earlier, but I'm okay with keeping 7 because the other ones I'm hoping we don't stay too late.
Right.
I mean, we could split it halfway and do 6:30. Can we do that? Cause it's not too many meetings.
I think it would be easier to do those 2 meetings early. Keep the rest of them at 7. I want everybody here, so
Yes,
You
I
know,
would
that's
prefer
the-
that. Yep.
that's the major driver, so.
Okay.
I don't have a problem either way, it doesn't matter. But that's my 2 cents.
All right. So do we have to vote on this or are we okay with like?
You can take a consensus.
Yep.
If everybody's fine with it, I mean, is that what you want? Is those
Hi,
2
Eileen.
meetings or?
I just would like to ask Matt, do you have that calendar somewhere listed?
It hasn't been issued. I just have it as a draft and we've
Kind of just a draft until the school board
yes,
fall, so.
sorry. Yeah.
So Thursdays at 7, if we're doing a combined one with the school board for the department heads, we're gonna meet at 6. Is the proposal, everyone okay with that? Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We'll do that.
Done. Any other questions on the schedule?
You might just want to make a note, joint meetings start at 6. Just so the new folks know that.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so we're moving on from schedule. I asked Matt to start pulling together a budget overview, and he has already started doing some school accounting 101 slides, just so you can understand what each of the line items are. There's a bunch of numbers, but with no, like this is Bakey Memorial High School. And for us to sort of give us some basics for when he puts all thousands of line items in front of us, we kind of have an understanding of what it is. So that's going to be useful we usually have, if you guys want, we have a meeting where we discuss how we did this year. We have a meeting over the summer where we say, hey, okay, the year ended, we were, you know, short $1,000 here over whatever, an overview of how things went. I thought that was I asked for that last year. I kind of just want to know, how we did. And at that time, you can also give us the rundown on sort of how the budget's organized, things to look for. Some of the common questions we have is like, why did this go each year? Numbers move because kids are moving. And so we can give us some of those things that we are always asked about to help prep us for formulating the budget for the next year. So we might add one meeting before the November 1st one. I think we usually do it in the summer-ish, September,
Yeah.
August, September. I didn't have a specific date in mind. Yep. That does.
I have to have the end of year numbers done for the August 16th meeting.
So anytime after August 16th.
Okay.
Maybe August 17th.
School goes back the 28th. Then we have Labor Day weekend. Do we want to do like the second week in September? Or do we want to do it before school starts? The hardest part of this meeting is going to be pick dates, I think. Dates and times.
So you're thinking the 14th?
I was thinking the 14th.
It's fine with me.
All right.
Oh, I'm in the wrong year. Like what?
The 14th is the day before I leave for vacation, so that's good.
All right.
14th of
September. So we'll have an overview of how things went.
I was going to
And-
specifically ask if we could do that because for somebody who's new, I have no idea. So that would
Yep.
be good.
Yes. I had the same request last year. It's like, so I'm going to say September 14th. We'll do it at 7. Matt's going to lead us in a budget overview and a rundown on how things went this year. All right, budget overview. I already talked about how questions will be submitted and reviewed, and Matt touched upon it too. Everyone's on board with reviewing with the department heads. Next up is school board and subcommittee meetings. Nope, and it repeats twice. My bad.
Oh, so it's not as long as we thought it was, the agenda.
No, the dates are different.
Just kidding.
The dates. One less. I'm doing pretty good. We're only at 7:24. So I think, so Micah, welcome from the
you.
school board. Jamie last year gave some updates from the school board and from the finance committee. I think we don't need every last detail. I think that there's some key things that we want to know about, like line transfers or big purchases or some of those things that are unexpected potentially. I think that we could kind of, I trust your judgment, but I don't need to know that to the penny.
We've been bulletizing
Yes.
our, so yeah,
Yep.
that sounds good.
And the other piece is I've asked Phyllis to send me the school board agendas. I know they're posted publicly, but if there's major topics in the school board agenda that relate to the budget, I can give everyone a heads up so that you don't have to watch every school board meeting or you can attend that one because there's something related to the budget, just to give everyone a heads up so that we're just more informed
That's a great idea. I like that.
moving forward.
I have a question.
Of course.
So can you forward to us the subcommittee meeting dates
Yes.
that they plan, especially EISA and finance?
Yep, I'm on the finance
Oh, okay.
subcommittee. And yeah, Issa, I'll get you those.
Is it usually 5 o'clock Wednesdays or 4?
I don't know about Issa, but when do we meet? 5 on Wednesday? 6 on
Yes, they changed the schedule around this year.
Okay.
So I know the subcommittee dates, the meeting dates and times are on the website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to email a link to it to the budget committee right now.
Thank you.
The best.
Good, I'm glad. Did they make the times a little bit later?
Let's
Some of
look.
them
I
Maybe.
know finance is 6.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So,
Before the school board meeting on Monday.
facility starts at 4, finance starts at 5 on the same day. And at the same time, ISA and policy happen as facility and finance.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then in the off weeks, we have personnel relations and, I'm sorry, public relations and personnel. So it's like a week of heavy meat subcommittee and then a week of light subcommittees.
The times are more realistic. For some
Sorry.
of them. The times seem to be a little bit more realistic for people, though. Some of them used to use
Mhm.
early as 3:30.
Yeah,
Doing a terrible job at following my agenda. All right, guys, here we go. School board update. Micah, do you have anything you want to share from the meetings or?
Yeah, I mean, we heard in the most recent meeting, there was, we considered, let me actually look at my, the agenda so I can refresh my memory properly. Oh, as it relates to finance, yeah, so the biggest thing that was discussed was the request for technology funds for Chromebooks, servers, Chromebooks, laptops, and projectors. And there were some approvals that were, the board approved some, but not all of those things. And the larger discussion was made that if technology requests are going to be, they're being, the request was to take the funds from, what was it called? The
facility use revolving fund.
facilities revolving fund for certain things. And we were saying if this is going to be a request that is going to be, you know, something that we can expect ongoing, that it would be a good idea to think about how to build it into the budget. So that would obviously impact this group. That was the big one that we discussed.
Matt, do you know what the largest approved was in terms of funds?
Let's see, I can look at what was,
If you don't, it's okay. I can watch. I just didn't know. If you had
I think the large, yeah, I think Chromebooks, he was asking for 58,000, but they only approved a portion of those. Laptops, he was asking for, again, 58,000.
Approve that.
Yes, projectors, he asked for $8,405, but I think the school board preferred to have TVs as opposed to projectors,
Or at least a investigation as to what was best.
right?
Gotcha.
And then there's a couple of servers that we have to purchase. The first one is a camera server. The hardware was almost $8,300, but the licensing and configuration was $9,265. Let's see what else is in here. And then a backup server, not just over $9,000.
And the general methodology of the way that the board, majority of the board voted was if it was a direct impact to security, i.e. the cameras, safety, and security, physical, like cameras, i.e. the physical security of the building, and Chromebooks becoming out of date, which would mean, computer type security, right? Breach type security. We wanted to approve those things. And then, of course, the need for incoming freshmen to have Chromebooks was something that we were like, yes, definitely. But there was another portion for third grade. Or what?
For Chromebooks, yes.
That we were like, I think
Yes.
on that. So there was, it was a kind of, what do we need to do now on a need basis, and what can we think about for the future?
Thank you.
Questions for the school board? Thanks, Micah.
Very welcome.
All right. Next steps. Last year, we also did facility tours and I found them to be very insightful. And there are 3 of them. We combined Bakey and Swayze, the memorial, and the least old middle school building and the high school middle school. We also suggested that Matt will host them, but we'll include it and open it to the public. And so Matt was going to schedule those. So everyone is welcome to join and ask lots of questions on how the buildings are doing, because that is a big, there are property managers and so we need to have an insight into how the buildings are doing.
Mhm.
So
And it's fascinating because if you don't know, I'm just going to kind of give you an idea. We actually have a water filtration system for this building and it's huge. Okay. It's bigger than this area that we're sitting in. It's full of filters and yeah.
Matt showed us all the closets, crawl spaces. There's some good stuff
Yeah.
out there.
Yes.
Pump rooms, caves.
Bakey's water.
Oh, so again, I'm trying to bring in we're trying to bring in the transparency and give you guys more information so you can make informed decisions. I think it's been mentioned in multiple meetings, the memorial has been pieced together.
Yeah.
It may need to be repieced something else or
Yeah.
some changes may need to happen. So I think it's good to see it. That you
So-
understand what they're-
Can we start off like next week? Or, what's everyone's schedules like? Can we do it soon? Because what I'd like to try to do is pick a Thursday night for like 4 Thursdays, and we can do like a campus each Thursday night, say at 5 o'clock. I think the old middle school, if you want to view that one, we have to schedule at a weird time because it has to be after their students are there, but before their staff goes home.
So next Thursday, the 20th is that seminar, the anxious parent seminar.
Okay.
So I just mentioned that. I mean, that's not till 6:30, but just in case. I mean, if we
Okay.
did it at 5, you just, you know what I mean?
But it doesn't have to be on a Thursday night.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I'll do it anytime this committee wants to do it. Like if you want to walk around the building after this, I will give you guys a tour of the building.
The smart move for one of the meetings. So maybe the
Get one
September
done.
one.
Yeah. You can see the creepy catwalk over the auditorium.
I'm gone for the next 2 weeks, so I'm not but don't base it on me. I already went on the tours last year. So
We can start them in August if everyone prefers.
So next week I won't be able to do, but other than that, I'm pretty wide open. like,
Okay.
Any of the other weeks.
So why don't we start after school vacation? So in starting the first week of May, I can start doing tours of the buildings. Okay.
all right.
That's
So-
fine. You can hash it out in email,
At what time?
Yep.
switch it and stuff like.
What time?
Well, I'll do it multiple times. Okay.
You could just spend a whole
It's
evening.
great for me because I'm
Okay.
here.
I'll take a tour of the building. Just so that he can see this building. Okay, if anyone wants to tag along, you're welcome to come along.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again in the beginning of May. Okay,
Perfect.
5 o'clock, this doesn't work for me on Thursday.
yes,
Mondays and Fridays I'm off.
okay,
Thursdays.
sure, we'll go walking through the building after this.
Perfect. And then we can, again, we wanted to open it to the public as well. So if we can still schedule. May 4th is my birthday, so. If you.
May 4th, we're doing.
Doing it for.
I don't want, so we. can-
Anybody a Star Wars fan?
On the 4th, that would be, and then I can go to the next.
Okay, absolutely.
Thanks. Thanks for accommodating my weird. Okay. All right, so everyone's on board with the facility tour. So thank you, Matt, for offering that. I really appreciate it. And if you can all attend, I strongly recommend it. Then we talked about the summer budget review and the overview, so we're good there. Sorry, I didn't ask any other questions on facility tours. I just keep going. And then we're making a lot of process changes, and I'm going to lean on all of you on occasion to help figure it out. Like if Matt has a presentation to review, some of you, like, I think you have accounting experience. I think we can work with each other's strengths to figure out how to get it all done so that it's not all on one person and we're all involved. I don't know exactly what those like side projects are just yet, but I feel like they're going to be coming up. So this is my heads up. And we don't have anyone in the public. Eileen? So public comments up. There's no one here. Is there any comments from the committee? Yes, Pam.
So I typed out some comments, just things I'm thinking about moving forward. So I'd like to see how our student outcomes are doing. I know we have some targets in our 5-year plan for improving math and reading scores, and hope to maybe meet with Tom to see how those are going. Because the spending's all about student outcomes. That's what we're here for. I'm waiting eagerly for a Fremont update with the contract and what Fremont's doing. I believe they have until April 15th to get the RFPs in from the 3 school districts. So kind of a nail biter there. I'd like to make sure we communicate well and better with the public. The constant question I get from people in Kingston and Newton, where I used to live, is how come the school budget's growing and if enrollment is declining? So I have to explain, being an economist, I have to explain that over 5 years, the cost per pupil, not the total cost, but the cost per pupil has gone up 24%, and inflation over 5 years, the same period, went up 21%. So you can see that the cost per pupil is not changing in terms of the real value. It's going up because of inflation. Does that make sense?
It does.
But I still get asked the question. It's like I didn't even answer it. But I do try to explain to people that inflation's affecting the budget more than the decline in enrollment. The capital improvements I looked over, they look great. Anything that says security upgrades, take my money, you know what I'm saying? I'm all in on that stuff. And I think that's about it.
To add to your comment, I think that the 5-year strategic plan and the capital improvement plan, when I talk about like school board updates, I feel like that's part of, like, I feel like we need an update on that when we go into the new budget cycle, is what are those key goals, or the goals for the school board for the strategic plan and for the capital improvement plan, so that we know that going into planning the budget. So totally agree. I think there's a few things going on. Fremont's one of them, teacher negotiations another, and the high school bond dropping off. In the next 3 years, we have some big things happening. So exciting times for budget. But those are really good. Thank you, Pam.
Yeah. How do you think the student outcomes and stuff? I mean, a lot of that is discussed in some of the school board meetings. So I don't know how much we'll get into it in the budget committee portion side of it, but it's good to have a quick overview of just where we are. So when we're looking at allocating money, we can see what departments need it for sure. So
That's the only way, oh, sorry to interrupt you, but that's the only way we can measure output. I mean, we see inputs for spending,
yeah.
but what's the eventual output?
Mhm.
Improvement in scores. And there's many ways to measure improvement in scores. Students can take the armed services exam, for example, not SATs, but something else. to prove that they've mastered. So.
If there are specific questions, like, I wouldn't mind, it would be helpful for me to know after, at each meeting that we have here, if there are things that I can go back to the school board with specifically and try, and if you have questions about certain things that are on the mind, the collective mind of the school board and what they're working on, I can use that as an action item to come back next meeting to talk about it.
Be
So
careful.
if you want to,
Thanks.
well, I'll give you the answer that I get. But yeah, I mean, it'll be good to sort of guide my process. As I give you an update, I can try and address questions as best I can. That stuff.
Right.
Are
Yeah.
those two plans available? Your outcome plans and your, what were the capital improvement plans that you have, your 5-year plans, are these available somewhere?
SAU website. Would you mind
Oh.
sending us a quick link? to
Sure.
that? And they update it with, so they have another, you kind of have to click in, but it'll actually show you a progress update on it as well. They will
Okay,
update.
excellent information.
Yep. Um,
And I think the SAU website for the new folks has a lot of really great information. If you go in there, I mean, you can see a lot of the recorded meetings. Hopefully the subcommittee meetings will be a lot easier to hear this year. But you can see all the different, Matt, that was directed towards you. You can see all the different, the meetings that are partaking, the agendas, a lot of the documentation that you need. You can see previous year budgets. You can see all that information. So it's a good resource.
Oh, that's not the current one.
We were sitting pretty close to the microphone in the
Right.
finance subcommittee meetings.
Yeah, some of them are just hard. And I know when they used to break into the groups, in the ISA meetings, you couldn't really hear anything that was being discussed. So that was a tricky one to hear.
I'll have to put it on my calendar for tomorrow because one of them is not showing up in a Google search. So
Thanks, Matt. Right. So,
Oh, can I add something?
yes, absolutely.
I found for the new people, it was important to go over process review and expectations before different meetings. So I don't know if that's something that we can incorporate again this year. What does a public meeting look like? What does a deliberative look like? What is the goal? What's our role? The do's and don'ts and stuff like that. So if that's something that we can incorporate, I think it's just, I remember my first year and I was really floundering. Nobody really told me anything, you know what I mean? So I was like, what am I supposed to say? And what am I not supposed to do? So, yeah, so if that's something that we can incorporate, I just think it would be helpful for folks.
I agree. That would be
Yeah.
very helpful.
Yeah.
I think we can tie that into the budget 101 unless we want to. I think we had a separate meeting for it, but I think we can kind of, again, budget committee 101, including some of the.
And a quick recap before the meeting too. You know what I mean? If we go back to that little section, so it's fresh on the brain, because it's the budget 101 is great, but like when you fast forward 6 months,
I
you're
see what
like,
you're saying.
"Oh, what does this meeting entail again?" So it's just good to have a baseline understanding.
Yep. Okay. That's definitely an action.
just so you know, I'm going to be purchasing electronic versions of the budget laws for New Hampshire. It's like kind of an easy to read document that kind of goes through a lot of the processes, but it's generic. Okay, so it kind of gives you the broad overview of all the laws.
Nice.
I've always found it helpful in the past if each of you have a copy of it.
Thank you.
So I'll get you one in August. They don't update it until August, September.
Is that for municipal and school budget committees?
Yes.
That applies to both. Okay.
Yeah, and for village
Right.
too.
Some light reading.
And Matt does a really great job with the index of different terms and stuff like that. I remember you had that. Because there'll be a lot of things that you guys don't recognize it, don't be afraid to ask the question, you know, hey, I don't know what this is.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll apologize in advance. Some of the words are like 500 years old or more. Yeah.
I just jotted down an action to make sure we have I think pulling it into the schedule too and noting what the key outcomes or intended outcomes of this meeting would be, like sort of a statement, maybe just in an email to all of us so that we know like this is the part we're at, as a heads up. I think it's a great idea. And plus budget 101. All right. Last but not least, I'm going to go around the table. This is what I do. Matt, anything to add?
Nothing.
All right, Micah,
No, thank you.
Ken,
All set.
Vanessa,
I look forward to this year, working with everybody. Welcome newbies.
Dan,
Good.
I'm good. Harry,
I feel like I've learned a lot already. Thank you.
Amanda.
So I do budgeting at my job, like that's one of my goals is budgeting. So, but this is a different type. I do it for properties for a property management company. So I'm excited to learn this side of budgeting and how I can incorporate my knowledge into it. That's it.
Good to have you. Pam?
I'm a teacher. I could say a lot more, but I won't.
I'm happy to have everyone here. And thank you for volunteering. It's volunteer role. So with that, there's nothing else. 7:48. I'm gonna call it. All right.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All right.
Sure.
And camera.